Hey guys, how you doing? Nate Lopez here again, and welcome back to Morning Coffee with Nate. So today I want to talk about a couple things. The first one is like how it has to do with macro versus micro, and like how you can get more macro in your work, and like just it's like that mindset, and then a hack that you can use. To help you become more efficient in your day, but really it's just back to that same mindset of macro versus micro, right? Like if you get really macro with it, like you're gonna be more, you could be able to do more than if you're like just putting out fires every single second. And then also want to talk about, and we've talked about before, but it's like grind, work ethic, like, and what that means and what that looks like. And so first is macro versus micro, and what do I mean, and like what does that look like? So in the workplace, or not even in the workplace, just in life, like macro is, so when I first started, I had like all these emails coming in, and I hear horror stories of like people like super high up, like they have like 600 emails every hour. Like it's just insane the amount of emails they get, and you can't keep up with that. Like you shouldn't even want to, and you shouldn't have to. I mean, you could batch, right? I mean, you should batch and do like a bunch of emails at one time. Like I'm cool with that, but like 600 emails, like shouldn't get 600 emails a day. Unnecessary, right? There's not that much going on. So what's happening is, what I'm finding is that people are just like CCing people, like CC, like, you know, either just want to let you know what I'm doing a good job, covering my butt, you know, whatever type of emails they are. And it's just such a waste in the system, in your system, right? So here's like a rule, right? Delete it, delegate it, or do it. So the 3 Ds: delete it, delegate it, or do it. So when an email comes in your inbox, you immediately either delete it, forward it to somebody else and delegate it, or you just do it right then and there. You don't wait a second, you just do it right then and there. You don't play around with it, or you maybe put it on your calendar to do. And then if you're getting emails from different subscriptions or different, you know, automatic email services or anything like that, make sure that you unsubscribe to those, and make sure that you get those out of your system. Make sure that even if you're being it goes back to crucial conversations, but if you're being CC'd in emails that you don't think pertain to you in any way, shape, or form, like if you have a new role now, or you're in a new industry, or you're doing new things, and you're just getting random like CC'd emails from X, Y, or Z person that doesn't really pertain to you anymore, it's not out of line to email them and say, hey, like, by the way, hope everything's doing well. I'm currently in a new role, and I'm doing X, Y, and Z. If you need any support over here, let me know. But the emails you're sending me just aren't really pertaining to what we're doing, and I don't want to waste your time. Super nice. I think anybody can relate with that, and then it's gonna save you, you know, 1 second every single day for the rest of your life having to delete that email, right? So that's huge. And then the next thing I want to talk about really briefly is, so that's like a hack, macro versus micro. Macro being, so I took it to a micro place, but the macro is 90% of the stuff is noise. We talked about that the other day. I'm trying to figure out how to like really incorporate that in a very professional way within the workplace. But I mean, go through your emails. Just go through them. I don't care if you have 10, I don't care if you have 20, I don't care if you have 500. 90% of your emails you could probably literally just delete and never have read, and you would be fine that same day, the next day, and for the rest of your life. Right? So what's important? What's a problem? What's not a problem? What's really a problem? What's really a problem? Right? So I'm still trying to figure that out. Once I guess I get enlightened with it, I'll share it with you. But I keep talking about it a lot because I know it's true. I see it. I'm just trying to figure out like how to really live it, right? And how to be efficient with that like mindset. Or is it just a mindset? I don't know. But I know it's true. You know, you see it every day. So the next thing I want to talk about is like work ethic and grind and hustle. And we'll talk about that. And the reason being is I was just talking with some of my buddies the other day, and they're saying like, oh, basically, you know, X, Y, or Z person doesn't have the capacity to make more money, can't be rich, can't make a lot of money. And I was just like, listen, I was like, man, you know, I know X, Y, or Z person hiring for X, Y, and Z job if they get X, Y, and Z degree. Like, oh well, what? Like I don't care if you're 28, 45, 35. If I told you you can go to school for 4 years, graduate, and make $100K a year, would you do it? Like the answer is probably not. It's the answer. It's sad, right? People aren't willing to hustle for 4 years, put off, you know, instant gratification for 4 years, even if you guaranteed them they'd be better off in 4 years. People aren't even willing to do that. Like, and that's the truth. And it hurts, you know? And, you know, the other truth is people aren't willing to work. You know, I see it out there all the time, just amongst my friends and whatever, is like, you know, everybody wondering what the secret sauce is and how you're successful and you know, what are the paths, and you know, mentors and different things like that are important. I think mentors, they have a lot of different purposes. One of them is it's a hack. I mean, they've been in X, Y, or Z industry for 30 years. They know the landscape. I mean, it's a hack. They're basically showing you the path, the landscape, you know, what you need to do, you know, X, Y, and Z, how to solve X, Y, and Z problems. These are going to be huge roadblocks for you. They tell you that in advance so you can be prepared and show you how to solve that problem, right? So they're hacks. Like, they make more things more efficient. That's like one of the biggest things that I see with mentors. They'll also tell you is, dude, like, it's life, right? Like, it's a lot of work. Like, I've not seen a successful person, and entrepreneurs is one thing, like, they bust their butt, that's for sure, but I see a lot of entrepreneurs, they look like frown on like business or industry or Fortune 500 world, like 9 to 5. It's not. Let me tell you. So if you're getting into that world, get ready for a fight, because any successful person that I've seen in Fortune 500, it's a lot. 14, 16, 18 hours a day. And it's real. I mean, it's life. And that it's no different than entrepreneurship. They're just hungry, man. You know, they love the process. They're into it, you know. And I think what people don't understand is like, hey, how do I be successful? Hey, how do I get rich? Hey, how do I get promoted? Hey, how do I whatever? And people don't like the answer. It's work, right? Bust your ass 16 hours a day, and I guarantee if you do that for 5 or 10 years, if nothing comes out on the back end of it, you can come beat me up. Like, I'll give you my address. You know, like, I'm telling you, you bust your ass for 16 hours a day for 10 years, you're going to get a lot of good things out of it. A lot. That's it. You know? And it's the same with, like, losing weight. People will lose weight. Like, oh, how do I lose weight? What's the next, like, diet pill? Right? Like, no. How do you lose weight? Go to the gym for 2 hours a day and bust your ass 5 days a week. But you're not going to do that. Like, right? Like, you're not going to do that. Like, if I could tell people hey, you have to work 16 hours a day for 10 years, and you're going to increase your wealth by $100,000 a year. At least. Probably even more. If I told you that, right? from now, 10 years, 100K, even more from today in 10 years, you got to work 16 hours a day every day. Nobody would do it. Nobody would do it. It wouldn't even matter if I came down and made a pact and I was Bill Gates, a billionaire, and I promised him I'd pay him if you would live on ramen noodles for 10 years, you'd work 16 hours a day, and at the end of 10 years, Bill Gates, billionaire, comes down, all this money in contract, agreed, boom, hey, I promise you, I'm gonna pay you $500,000 a year for the rest of your life. You still gotta work 16 hours a day, but I'm gonna pay you $500. They wouldn't do it. Nobody do it. Not nobody. A lot, like 99% of people would not do it. Couldn't do it. That's the truth. People hate it. And it sucks, and it's a tough pill to swallow, but at the end of the day is, people wouldn't do it. That's what I'm starting to see. That's what I'm starting to see. But you know the scariest thing, and I'm going to loop it back again. I'm kind of like just super rant this morning, but whatever. The scariest thing is, people aren't self-aware enough to know why they're not doing it, right? Like, they don't internally understand that they're watching a lot of football, or they're, out there playing soccer with their buddies, or they're, spending a bunch of time doing, on YouTube or whatever, X, Y, or Z. People just don't even understand, like, why they're doing what they're doing. Like, they don't have self-fulfillment in mind, right? Because I tell everybody all the time, like, hey, if you don't work 16 hours a day, I'm cool. But your self-fulfillment better be, hey, I want to be at home with my son or daughter every single day to coach them in, basketball and baseball and soccer or whatever. And I just want to be at home with my son or daughter all the time. Or I want to be with my wife all the time. Or I want to be with my family all the time. Like, whatever your self-fulfillment is, I'm down with it. But you got to tell me. Like, I need to know that. Like, you can't just tell me, hey, I'm not working 16 hours a day. I'm not really present with my family. When I'm even at home, I'm not really present with my family because I'm watching TV or on Facebook or on YouTube. So I'm not really doing that very well. And then, oh, by the way, I'm playing, softball or soccer or, watching football all day every Sunday. Like, just, lights out. So, that one doesn't do it for me, right? Like, what's yourself? You're kind of just like, you're playing that like rat, like just playing in the wind, right? You're never really gonna get anywhere like that. Like, you got to figure out where you're going and then how to get there. So what's your self-fulfillment? And I don't care if it's not working 12, 16 hours a day, it's fine. And then how do you get there? Like, what are the things you need to do to get there? If it's working less, that's fine. But it's certainly not, the latter of what I was just talking about. So anyways, that's a quick rant for the day. That's the direction I decided to take this thing in because of some discussions that I was having the other day. So anyways, have a good morning, like, subscribe. Hasta mañana.